Hello and welcome back. I cannot believe it is the final day. This is our day, I guess 15. It's called the wrap-up video. It's where I talk about the first 14 days or the 14 days that we just went through. And of course, wrap up, tell you my favorites, tell you my least favorites, give you some additional insight into what I think is probably the best for different skin types. So that's what this is. I also want to let you know that I put makeup on today. Very proud of that. I washed my hair yesterday. This is big news considering I'm still in the sling. You can't see it. I guess you can see this. If you missed all of that, I don't know how. I was mentioning it every day the last 4 days because I separated my shoulder. I'm actually having surgery tomorrow. So very big deal in my world, just trying to get through the next 24 hours till I can have the surgery. But I couldn't leave you guys hanging. I had to do these videos and I had to wrap this up. So that's what we're talking about today. I think I've said everything I need to say. If you have any questions, of course, leave them below. I will list all the makeup that I'm wearing. And yeah, let's get into it. My hair is feeling very greasy. I think it's because I can't just put it up, which I normally would do, and it would be out of my face. So pardon the greasiness. I'm trying to find a part that works where I'm not touching it too much. Yeah, but let's just jump in. I think I want to start with the ones that I just said I'm not going to touch my hair and then I did. Okay, I think let's start with the favorites because it's always more fun to talk about the ones that just perform well and I like. And I kind of broke them down because it was really hard to narrow them down to the top 3. So I actually have the top 5 of my favorites and then I have the top 3 of my least favorites. It was hard. So I kind of, like I said, I broke them down and I'm going to talk about why and who I think they are best for. But the first one, I feel like this comes as no surprise, but it's the HaruHaru Wonder. This sunscreen is incredible. This was day 1. We got off to a good start. This is one of my, I would say top 5 sunscreens of all time. It's just the easiest sunscreen. I think it works for so many people and it's not too glowy. Now, if you are somebody who does want that glow, there are 1,010,000 sunscreens out there that have that really glowy, very hydrated look. But I think for a lot of people, as we move on from that trend, it's just not we want something that's a little bit more natural. And if you want glowy, you can make it more glowy. You just have to kind of put the right base of skincare on underneath. But it's just nice to have something that you don't look like a disco ball with. And that's where the HaruHaru Wonder comes in. It is non-greasy, it applies and sinks in almost immediately. There's no white cast. I mean, it's a chemical sunscreen, so there shouldn't be. There's no scent to it. I've heard one person who didn't like it and I think it pilled on them. I've not had that experience. It layers beautifully. You put makeup on, anything else on over top of it, and it's just easy. But I think more than anything is it still is moisturizing somehow without making you too glowy. So for me, I have normal combo skin. This is a moisturizer and a sunscreen for me. If you do have drier skin, you may want to put a moisturizer on underneath, but you also may notice that it's not necessary. This has this long lasting kind of hydration that is not common for a lot of sunscreens, especially when they are gonna be sitting a little bit more natural or a little natural matte on your face. So that is why this is one of just the most spectacular ones of my recent sunscreen knowledge. Again, it's got that velvet non-greasy finish and I think it's just, it's a bit of a unicorn in the K-beauty world where a lot of things are so glowy, glass skinny, and I absolutely adore it. So that's where we're starting. Now, there's kind of the middle ground. So we have the natural velvet matte finish with the HaruHaru Wonder, and then we have the super glowy on the other end. And the ones that I have, I really had a hard time narrowing it down. So I have 2 for that category, and they are the Biore Aqua UV Riche, and then the Skin 1004 Madagascar Centella. They're not exactly the same. I think if you really want the glass skin look, this one, the Biore UV Aqua Riche, is going to give you that. It's going to you're going to radiate. You're going to look like this package. And it's also one of the easiest ones to apply. there is a little bit more of a high alcohol content in it, denatured alcohol. It shouldn't be drying to your skin, but if you notice that you tend to have drier skin and maybe denatured alcohol has dried your skin out before, maybe not the best choice. And then I would go with the Skin 1004. This one is going to be just like a big drink of water. I think with the Skin 1004, it's not as in your face. It's definitely moisturizing. You're definitely going to have a glow, but it doesn't have that glass skin look. It looks just more hydrated to me. Incredibly easy to wear. It doesn't have a scent, whereas the Biore UV Aqua Riche has that more alcoholic scent. Also is super easy to apply, but they're just going to be like that slight difference. And I think it really comes down to maybe if your skin can handle a little bit more denatured alcohol or not. But I think either one, if you're looking for a glowy, glassy skin kind of look, you could purchase both of them and kind of see what you like. But these are my two top choices for that kind of more drier skin type. Now, right in the middle, I mentioned this, and I forget what day this was, maybe day 7. This is the Etude House Sunprise Mild Watery Light. This one, to me, is that middle ground. So, not to say that the HaruHaru Wonder is matte, because it's not. It's a velvet, natural matte finish. So, like the matte being the slightest kind of part of that. So this one is going to be the middle ground, and I think how it looks really depends on your skin type. If you have drier skin, it is going to tend to be maybe set down a little sooner and not as glowy throughout the day. But if you have more oily skin, it's going to be a little bit glowy, but not to the point where like you really feel like a disco ball again. It's just that middle ground. It's so easy to apply. I feel like you can over apply this one, pretty much all of these really easily, and nothing is like out of the ordinary. You can apply makeup over top. All of these I have used with makeup. But this is just kind of that middle, I keep saying middle ground because I don't know how else best describe it. Not too matte, not too glowy, at least for me, kind of just right in the middle. Okay, and then my fifth and final favorite is kind of a category that I don't know, I just kind of created. It doesn't really have to do with skin type, whereas the first 4 we had for more oily, then for normal, and then for drier skin. But this one I think can go for all skin types. This is the Kiss Me Mommy. The reason that I included it is waterproof and it's high protection. I love that. SPF 50 plus, PA 4 pluses, or yeah, 4 pluses. It does take a little bit longer to rub in. This is a chemical sunscreen, so there shouldn't be a white cast, but it takes just a fraction of the time longer. And it's kind of one of those things, like if you've used one of these other Korean or Japanese sunscreens, you'll notice the difference. But if this is just your only sunscreen, I don't think you'll be like, oh, the white cast on this one. It's just a smidge longer, but it's waterproof. So for me, this one is an immediate going in my bag when I travel this summer, because I do like to have chemical sunscreen that I can use by the pool, in the ocean, whatever. And a lot of these others, they're just not going to be that one. Like if I think about the Biore, this is going to come off with water. All of these are not, most of them are not waterproof. So I think it's a really valuable option to have. And I think for all people, regardless of your skin type, it's going to be pretty beneficial. It also wears beautifully under makeup. You can just wear it alone. There's no cast to it. So for that reason, it's just kind of in its own little unique world. The only other thing I want to say about my favorites is these are all chemical. The ones that I did try that were mineral did not fall into the favorite category, but we're going to talk about that in a second. But you know, that is a strength of K and J Beauty. I would say that their chemical sunscreens are what reign supreme. So it's no surprise really to me that I chose ones that are chemical to be my favorites. But yeah, you know, one of these days, maybe a mineral one will surprise me and I will fall in love with it, but not today. Okay, now it's time. I actually find that the ones that I don't like to be the most beneficial in terms of like if you're looking to maybe purchase something and then you see a negative review. So to me, it's very helpful to have those negative reviews, and I never mean to bash the brand. And also, just because it doesn't work for me doesn't mean that it won't work for other people. So like there's some caveats, of course. I always like to say that because people get really upset if it's their favorite product and I don't like it. It's like, I mean, whatever, our skin is different. That's just what it is. But the first 2, I probably don't come as much surprise to you, and they are the 2 mineral, well, there were some hybrids as well, but 2 of the mineral sunscreens that I reviewed. Also, again, sorry, I only have one arm. I can only hold them in one arm. But we have day 2, which was the dr.g Green Mild Sun Up. This one, you know, it was advertised as being waterproof, and I mean, it still is. It's not that it's not, but it was supposed to be kind of your outdoorsy sunscreen if you want a mineral waterproof kind of sunscreen. And it does all those things. It just has, it's too thick and it has too much of a cast for me. I mentioned in a video that I posted right before 14 days of foundation started, kind of like my thoughts and revelations and regrets on beauty products in general. And one of them is I'm done with non-tinted mineral sunscreens. It just doesn't work for me. My skin tone is just dark enough that I will have a cast, and I don't always want to have to put something on over top. Now, there are some that are really beautiful and I don't mind, but usually that's because the texture is thinner and more runny, like of a thinner consistency, and I like those a lot more. This one, it feels heavy, it feels cakey, it feels like I'm rubbing endlessly, and I just don't have time for that. I feel like I remember it not being super cheap. So again, that's my preference. If you like that type of thing, by all means get it, but for me, it's just not something that I would ever repurchase. And the other one that I get mad about every time I use, and I mentioned this in the video, this is the Pyunkang Kohl. Every time I think, okay, this is just like a K-beauty sunscreen, I'm gonna like it, and then I put it on and I have white face, like a cast. There are no redeeming qualities about this sunscreen. It feels incredibly thick as well. It has a cast, it doesn't set down. I just don't like anything about it. I mean, maybe I like that it comes in a larger size because this is 75 milliliters. But other than that, like, I just don't. For all the reasons I already mentioned, so I'm just gonna leave it there. And then the last one, which was a really upsetting kind of discovery, is that this beauty of Joseon, this is the Ginseng Moist Sun Serum. This irritates my skin, and I don't have sensitive skin. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just the high amounts of ginseng in it or maybe the filters, but this like literally burns my face and I have to remove it almost immediately. And I've tried it multiple times and it's every time. So I would be really interested to hear what other people's thoughts are. Now, I feel like when I say that, people are like, they tell me their thoughts. I'm like, oh, how could you hate it? But I'm coming at it more like a curious thing. Like, I just want to know if you tried it, like, did you experience that or not? It's not like meant to be like an argument. So just take that in mind when I say like, I would be curious about your thoughts. Because Beauty of Joseon is one of the biggest brands. It's gone viral for their other sunscreen. And I know a lot of people probably have tried this and either maybe like it or don't. But I'm just curious because I don't know what it is. And I will be passing it along and hopefully it won't irritate somebody else's skin. Alrighty guys, so that is a wrap. I'm going to take a little bit of time off now. I will have some videos that have been pre-filmed coming up. But hopefully I'll be able to let my arm heal after the surgery. And then I have so many videos that I want to film, so many brand reviews. I want to start doing more of those all-encompassing brand reviews. Those are really fun for me and I think you guys like them. I also have a video on bronzing products, like with SPF and without, because they are so nuanced and there's so many kind of ins and outs of them. Also invisible sunscreens, more of that to come. I just wish I had more time without a full-time job. So if you want to see all those things, consider subscribing and liking, and that is how I will get to be a full-time YouTuber one day. And if you did enjoy this video and this series, let me know. It's always helpful to know. And I will see you guys in a little bit, but also I'll see you next year for the next year 3 of 14 days of sunscreen. All right, here's my one-handed goodbye. Bye.